So, very good afternoon, everyone. So it's my pleasant task to introduce today's resource person, who is Professor Anuji Upekshika Gamage. She's the director of the National Research Council of Sri Lanka and also a professor in public health at the Faculty of Medicine, Sir General John Kothalawala Defence University, and a distinguished consultant in community medicine. Professor Gamage holds MD and MSc in community medicine from University of Colombo, as well as a master's degree in health economics and policy from Australia. Her expertise spans epidemiology, biostatistics, health economics, healthcare financing, research methods, and health system strengthening. She has made significant contributions to public health research and policy in Sri Lanka in her role as the director of the National Research Council. And today, she's enlightening us on this important topic of promoting research and innovation in Sri Lanka and how the National Research Council funded grants can contribute to national development and economic growth. So please join me in welcoming Professor Anuji Gamage. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the very generous introduction. So today we'll be looking at, I'm very grateful to be here. This is where I learned. This is my university as well, my medical faculty. I have teachers here. So I'm very grateful to be here. So today we'll be talking about promoting research, innovation, and in Sri Lanka and contribution, what we do through NRC and how you can lodge a successful application through NRC. All right. So this today we'll be focusing on, this would be the outline. So we'll be looking at vision, the history, how we do the proposal call, what national priorities are, and types of grants and information, other programs that we have at NRC. So things that you have to focus as researchers, like method, budget, completing grants, implementation plans. So these are things that you have to actually focus on when lodging a successful grant. Okay, so looking at a little bit of how the landscape of current research, health research funding in Sri Lanka, so limited allocations. We have less than 1% GDP of what is compared to in other countries, 3%, 5%, 8%. In Sri Lanka, it's less than 1%. So it's very competitive. And we also have university-based research grants. We all know that. Sometimes we get donor-funded projects and private sector philanthropic contributions are there, but minimal in Sri Lanka. So we all know this 1% we all have to fight for, and it's very competitive, and not just health. We have a lot of other fields coming in as well. So health research funding agencies, if you look at them, it is NRC, National Research Council, National Science Foundation, and Ministry of Health funds a bit, and we have from colleges and associations. And there are others as well, minimal contributions. Before moving on to what NRC does, let's look at Ministry of Science and Technologies. That's where we come under. So that is our ministry. So they have a lot of other institutions like Arthur C. Clarke, NERD, National Engineering and Research Development Center, National Institute of Fundamental Studies, National Research Council, that is us, National Science Foundation, Sri Lanka Inventors Commission, National Innovation Agency, NIA, National Science and Technology Commission, NASTEC, where that is the policy making body. Sri Lanka Institute of National Nanotechnology, SLINTech, and Biotechnology, SLIBTech. SLIS, and also that is the Quality Accreditation Agency, Atomic Energy Council. So why am I showing you all these things? These are the places that we can also get assistance in research, not just health research, but research. So if you are interested in all these agencies and how they contribute to health, these publications is through I know, I'm sure you all know Krishantha sir, the minister. So he has published this late in JCC, our Journal of College of Community Physicians, and I have given you the source. And in that we have listed the web links. You can please visit all these things, because ample amount of resources are there which we do not know at health personnel. So moving on to NRC, National Research Council, our vision is to enable Sri Lanka to achieve science and knowledge-based developed country status. So the focus is always using research to development. It's always using research into development, which is very limited in a country like ours. And the mission is to promote, fund, facilitate, and monitor fundamental to applied research and enhance human resources development for Sri Lanka to achieve science and knowledge-based developed country status. By Act, so I will give you a little bit of background on the Act. So it was in 2016, this was enacted. And as you see, we focus a lot on technologies and also health. Most important areas are these. This is Professor Kaur, the founding chairperson, 1999 to 2005, and Professor Eric Karnanayaka, 2005 to 2013, and our own Janaka sir from 2013 to 2019, and Professor Dudampahala from 2020 to 2024. So with their guidance, NRC has come up to this level, and the current council is also to take their vision forward. And we have a council member here, Professor Nayana Gunatilaka. Right. So NRC was initiated in 1999, but enacted in 2016. I know Janaka sir has done a lot to do this, and it has been a very difficult task at the time, I hear. So the objective was to assist government to plan, coordinate, and facilitate research and science and technology. This is to promote research to come into a developed status. So NRC does a lot to achieve this, and we as a council, with our vision, with what the current council brings into role, its role also is to uplift from what is it today into a better tomorrow. So National Research Council utilizes public funds. So we have to this is the most important thing. This is taxpayers' money we are using to fund research. So we are all accountable. We all have to be very responsible because of this. So public investment into research. Why? Because we want national impact. So I will show at the very end, there is always an opportunity cost. If you are looking at it, there is always an opportunity cost. This money could have been spent elsewhere, but government is giving to NRC. This year we have 166 million to spend because it wants research to happen, because the government wants people to do research. So there is always an opportunity cost. We look at it at the end of the session. So if you look at NRC grants, we have several. So we have IDG, investigator-driven grants, PPP, public-private partnership, and target-oriented grants. And we have other programs at NRC, like the National Awards. Currently, it's called President's Awards. I'm using the word currently because we are planning to revise it to a national award system, outreach program, and impact assessment. Okay, so if you look at these grants, the three types of grants are of two categories. Type 1 is, so it is a single step process, and type 2 is we have two steps in that. So type 1, we have that call for proposals, and we shortlist these proposals, and then the shortlisted proposals get the funding. Whereas type 2 will have an expression of interest. So as opposed to a proposal, the other one, it has an EOI, and then it will be shortlisted and they will be called for a presentation, and then the full proposal will be called and sent to evaluation, and that will be shortlisted again and then into funding, the final approval. Before going into any of these stages, the step 1 on the step 2, there is a very critical step where none of the council members are involved. So that is due diligence. A lot of 50%, I am sure Professor Nayana will vouch in for me, more than 50% of the grants, the application that we get out of the during desk review. So they become ineligible during desk review. So the main reasons are not adhering to our requirements, signatures not in place, completeness, maybe eligibility criteria. When we ask for a group, multidisciplinary group, there will be only 2 people, so on and so forth. The due diligence I have listed here. So these are very important things that we should know. Why our grants get rejected even at desk review. So we have we play no role there when it comes to evaluation. Okay, so the type 1 grants I showed to you, there are 2 types. The type 1 grants which includes only a single step evaluation process. So these are, compared to the other ones, are small scale research, limited scope, small budget. We give about 6 million as opposed to the other grants or the projects that we talk about, low risk and shorter duration, that is about for maximum 2 or 3 years, and straightforward study designs. This is to promote fundamental research, mostly to fundamental research. Of course, there will be applied research as well, but mostly to fundamental research. Significant impact, yes, but impact we look for both types, the first type as well as the second type. Two-step project grants, we'll be looking at, these are larger projects. I am using the word projects. And also we need stakeholders to work on this, and then we gave a larger amount up to 20 million, and complex study design. These are not straightforward study designs as the single step or the type 1 grants, and then strategic for high impact. This is for the country. We see whether these will be translated into some impact. Interdisciplinary, we want teams to work on this and need for specialized infrastructure, etc. Okay, right. So proposal review, the single step process is very easy. It comes, the applications, all the applications that we receive, we will screen them for due diligence. What gets on to this next step will be sent to panels, and these panels will go through the proposals, and based on the technical expertise, the evaluators will be chosen, and then they will be sent in for review. We get the marks, we shortlist the marks, and if it is beyond above 75%, it gets funded. 50 to 75, then again the committee has to decide whether these are eligible or not. Below 50, rejected. So it is, and finally into council approval. The 2-step process is we get the applications, we look at them, due diligence adhered to, and then now again the panel will work on these applications to see there are certain criteria. Impact is one thing, prioritization is one thing, budget is one thing, and how the implementation pathway, whether they have thought about it, it's another thing. So all these criteria, and then when if the panel feels okay, now this can be go into the second step, they will be called to come and do a presentation. So the presentation, again, a few panel members will be there. The council members will be there. They will be giving marks, and then again shortlisted. And these shortlisted people will be, or the applicants will be requested to submit a the full proposal, and this full proposal will go into evaluation, and then finally again marks, and then based on the marks the council will decide whether to award or to reject. Okay, so awarding grants, it is always in alignment with institute's strategic goals and national priorities. It has to be according to national priorities, national significance of the expected outcomes, and overall value for money. So how do you calculate overall value for money and the significant outcomes we'll discuss in a bit. Okay, so now a big question that we always face is where to look for the prioritization. Now I get calls to see, have you uploaded the prioritizations? Yes, we have uploaded the priority list. And then I get to, then they ask me, okay, there are other priorities such as the health ministry have their own priority list. So which list to use? Okay, please refer to both lists, and whatever you're citing, give us a justification. Okay, in this document, it says that this is a priority. And then if you don't have, if nothing is mentioned in both documents, then what can we do? Then refer to policy documents. The ministries, each ministry has its own master plan or policy guidance documents for 5 years. Refer to those documents. It spells out what the next 5 years, the important things for the next 5 years are. So refer to these documents. And always the government manifesto. Whatever the government is, there is a manifesto. Refer to these things. So on and so forth. And also sustainable development goal. One criteria we mark is for sustainable development goals. So again, refer to that. It is that in the justification, you say how important or valid this research is to be funded. So prioritization is a very important criteria. We do not do this. So it is a important finding that results are based on what we want them to publish. NRC, I am sure NRC, we do not do anything like this. So what is that expected impact? We want, of course, we want publications. We do want publications, but more than that, going one step beyond, we want innovations. Because the country to get into developed status, we want innovations. To talk about innovations, medical innovations, we come across very few. There are only a very few medical innovations for whatever reasons. We know the bottlenecks, we know the problems associated with medical innovations, but there are only a very few innovations that we have come across, at least exactly 2. So policy impact. Not every research is into commercialization, IP, taking IPs and commercialization. Some research is into policy, driving to policy. Now, for instance, the maternity leave that we get is based on Professor Priyani D'Souza's thesis. So Madam has marketed this and then into policy level. And also breastfeeding policies. It's based on research. Come to medicine people, they have done their research and they have marketed this into driving into policies. So not all research, it's into innovations, into commercialization, that IP pathway, then some into policy pathway as well. And then we want capacity building to be done, develop skill set, and also training opportunities and institutional strengthening. Okay, so talking about these NRC grants, we have those 3 types of grants, IDG. For 3 years, we give up to 6 million, and we focus on encourage innovation, high quality, national relevant innovation. So I'm always telling you, it is into national impact that we always focus on. Open to researchers and academics across disciplines, but they have to be from the public health sector. It has to be a university or a institution that is the government. We are not open to private sector yet. Suppose generation of evidence, technology, and policy relevant outputs, evaluation based on scientific merit, feasibility, innovation, and national impact. Right. So IDGs, a little bit on IDGs, awarding mechanism I have described. So this year we have published this in January to March, and they are now we have received about 136 applications, and they are being shortlisted at the moment. Now, I have cut paper advertisements. We do not have paper advertisements anymore. This is to save trees, and we want to go green. Now, after our council took over, we have stopped printing council books, and we are now moving into all e-copy based everything. So we will not be doing paper advertisements anymore. Please look out for advertisements at. So if you go into the NRC website, we give details of publishing dates, etc. Okay, even due dates, the key dates also we have decided, and hopefully it's on the web. Details on application mechanism, so website, and it will not be a paper advertisement. So that's a message for you. Grant application, it's all in the website, the application format, how to fill the format, and we have done 3 webinars on how to successfully lodge an application. Okay, so we have talked about this. Okay. So private-public partnership grants, these are the public sector is there, the private sector involvement is there, and our commitment is 50% of the 6 million that we are awarding. 6 million will be given. Our commitment to the public participant, the public contributor, is 50% of the 6 million. That is 3 million. The private sector has to bring in another 3 million. So Professor Nayana Gunanthilaka is the chairperson of the PPP committee. So if you want more details, you can ask him. Well, there is a raised hand. There is a raised hand. Shall we take the questions at the end? At the end, no? Right. So PPP program, it has been there with NRC since 2012, aims to build a local strengths by networking key players in research and development activities, public sector and the private sector, to contribute towards the economic development of the country. Now here we focus on an innovation. Now, this is not basic sciences, basic research. This is, we want them to come up with an innovation so that we can later on scale it up and commercialize. And the private sector, they focus on making profit making. No, the private sector will always focus on profit generation. So award mechanism, I have talked about it. This is the 2-step process I have described to you. Now I have highlighted, we are now offering 3 million to one party, and the private sector has to bring in another 3 million. Okay, so PPP. So this, the criteria are what we look at. The criteria that we focus on now: originality, scientific merit, national relevance, budget, chances of success. During the presentation, you will be questioned on this. So chances of success and commercialization pathway, that potential and benefit to the economy. So look at the last 3 bullet points. We always want some return of investment to the country. The target-oriented grants, although we call them grants, this goes up to 20 million. Now, this is the larger projects. Here, we focus on a project. This is directly into the national economy. It focuses on strategic problem solving and impact-driven research initiatives. And if it is not highlighted in the EOI stage, it will be rejected. So here, this time also, we got about 27, and I think about 8 got selected during due diligence. The first stage, almost all got rejected because these national priorities were not mentioned. Aim to generate practical solutions, policy inputs, and technological innovations. And projects are selected based on relevance, feasibility, scalability, and expected impact. Strengthen the contribution of research towards economic and social development. So a little bit on TO grants, as we call them, initiated in 2014. Awarding mechanism I have already described to you, and we give up to 20 million. Previously, it has been 50 million. So they have given up to 50 million for 5-year period. And after the economic crisis, they have brought it down and reduced the amount. Now it stands at 20 million. NRC Council selects the most appropriate and capable researchers who can work together as a team. So when we talk about stakeholders, we'll see who the stakeholders are. Sometimes there have been instances where the investigator asks us, okay, now can you organize meetings for us? Now, we cannot be organizing meetings and identifying stakeholders behalf of the investigator because that is not the task for NRC. Right. So I have described all of this. Funding available for key research facilities and resources. And I have listed here what we fund for. At NRC, we have a procurement guideline, and in the website, we have listed things that you can require funds for. Now, at NRC, we take many very seriously, very seriously. So this is the process. Once you log in, we get applications, and then you, if you get funded, if you are a recipient, periodically they will be asking you for progress reports. And these progress reports, first of all, it reaches the scientific officer. The scientific officer will go through it, and then she or he will summarize the findings and present it to the relevant panel. And the panel will go through it and then send it to the PEC, the Project Evaluation Committee, and they decide whether to continue with the grant or to terminate the grant or extensions, everything. I think President Ayana is in that committee too. So they decide what to do with the project. Okay, so if it is not satisfactory, they will decide what to do with it. So we take M&E very seriously, mainly for the fact this is public money, taxpayers' money, and we are all responsible for how we handle it. Because we take things pretty seriously during progress evaluation, if we do not get, now our agreement is with the VC, the Vice Chancellor of each university. So NRC signs the agreement with the VC. So now if we do not get things on time, we will send reminders. We will definitely remind you, very gently remind you, failing which, then we have to take measures. Now look here, you have taken money, you are answerable to this amount. Please send us reports. We have a lot of now here also, Kelaniya also, we have a problem with the final report. Sometimes people take money and they go abroad. Now we wait. Now this is taxpayers' money. If we do not do something about this, we'll be going to court, and we don't want to go to court for things we have not done. So now, therefore, we face problems. So as researchers, how you can help us, facilitate us is be responsible for what you are agreeing to. Okay, so what you are signing an agreement with us. So in that document, you are very happily at the time of getting the fund, you sign something. So please read all the statements that are in the document and give us back what you have promised. Okay, so the final evaluation committee, the PEC committee goes through all the details, and they will be grading A+, A, Bs, and Cs. And projects that are graded A's and A pluses will have more benefits through other grant schemes like grants to gain and outreach committee. And then when if we want to make them like help them with publishing their research, that also we facilitate, but only for A plus and A grade criteria research. Okay, so when we talk about research, this word means many things to everyone. Okay, for some, it would be to inquire knowledge, to explore ideas, to explore research questions. To some, it would be just to publish. To some, it would be to get promotion. So, research to anybody will mean a lot of things. Okay. So it's a good time to question yourself what research means to you. For me, it is passion. I love research, so that is why I chose community medicine. I am in the right path. So I am very passionate about research. The right research. Okay, so what is research? Research is the systematic investigation undertaken to establish facts, generate new knowledge, and develop solutions to that problem. So therefore, we cannot copy and paste from somebody else, change the setting and do it in another place, do something that is done abroad here. It's not, because it has to be country context to answer our problems. We are looking for solution of existing problem. This is the only way we can move forward for development, looking for answers for our problems in our country context. So we all start research with very brilliant ideas, but we all know what we face during that process. It's a very difficult process. We all agree. We know the difficulties each and every researcher face. No doubt in that. And at the end of it, after all the tedious processes are adhered to, and then it only boils down into a journal article. So that is not what the country needs. If it boils down everything at the very end, if it is just that journal ranking, journal citation, and a journal article, then we have actually failed to achieve the last two steps, and I will show you the last two steps. So in writing your research question, be like Goldilocks. Too big, okay, use the Goldilocks test. Too big, too small, too hot, just right. Okay, so you have your research question, you have to know what you're trying to look for answers. No, without a question, you can't set about doing so. Now, I heard a very recent at KDU, very eminent person came to us and told that her PhD, she didn't know the research question. She started the research question. After 3 years, she didn't come up. She didn't find answers also. Right? No, it can happen because you didn't know what you were set about doing. Right? If you do not know what you are starting to do, at the very end, there is a high possibility that you won't end up having something because you didn't start with a question. You have to know your research question. Okay, so study objectives. Now, a main problem that we see is we see one objective and we have many specific objectives listed there. So now when you are promising, when you are submitting applications, it seems right. Okay, many objectives you have to promise some things, but then we know during your process it will be sometimes very difficult to achieve all what you are trying to promise. So be very careful. All the specific objectives you have to answer them in the research section. If you don't know how to, if you think that these are not feasible, don't list them out. We also feel now it is good if we can have only up to 4 or 5 good specific objectives, so that these are smart, like specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay. Methodology, have a methodology, set about with a methodology, at least an idea, so that as you go along, things might change. We all know that, but at least have a plan. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I trying to achieve my research question using this methodology. And budget, now we have problems. Now you submit a grant application, fine, but we have many more things to do. We have to go through them. We have to sometimes submit this to the National Planning Department for approval. We have to write answers to the audit, and we have to sometimes write to the Treasury. So when we do that, when we do not have, when we have lump sum requests, we don't know how to break them down. Now, at the moment also, we are facing the same problem. Audit queries are there, lump sums are there. We do not know at NRC how to disaggregate it. But so when you are telling us you want some money, tell us a unit cost, how many units are needed. So itemize that list. For each component, itemize that. So the account section, the accountant, for her, it is easy to extract it and put it into the audit forms or the treasury forms or the NPD forms. Otherwise, when it comes as a lump sum, say reagents, we do not know what reagents are necessary. So, and then sometimes furniture. So requests like that. Now, at the moment also, the accountant is facing a lot of problems because she doesn't know to disaggregate these budgets that have been funded. Okay, so it is always a good a good practice to know how to budget for research. Do according to components if you have many components, and identify the unit cost, how many units are needed, and then the total cost. And now these are two things that we have introduced again at NRC current council. Now, PEC knows how many requests they get for extensions. For many reasons, they get requests. Now, we want the researcher to think what their expected risks would be before starting the project. I mean, at least we know ethical clearance is sometimes difficult for different types of projects. Know it before you start it. So the researcher has to know, okay, ethical clearance might take time. The consequences are this, the likelihood is this. So you, based on your exposure, you will pick one of these colors and tell us, okay, this is the color. Now, this is for TO grants, not for all grant types, because TO grants are projects into the country's development. If you don't know your risks before you jump into swim, later on PEC will face with many difficulties. So we have introduced this in, and also all most foreign grants also now ask us to think about our risks and how to mitigate. Now, if ethical clearance is a problem, okay, how long would it take, and how would you plan afterwards? So the researcher has to take the brunt. Your responsibility. It is your responsibility, and you will tell us this is the mitigation plan. And procurement delays, we know why procurement delays happen, and you expect them. So they expect you have to know them, the likelihood and the consequences, and you tell us a mitigation plan, and we will support that mitigation plan. So we have introduced this for TO grant scheme. And when we ask, especially for target-oriented, now this is for target-oriented, we ask for stakeholders. So when we ask for stakeholders, like I told you, one project, they want us to have meetings on behalf of them. We can't be doing that. You need to know who your stakeholders are. I will give you another example. There was this nice Kalagidi project using nanomaterial. They came up with Kalagidi actually. And they, for some reason, all these Kalagidis are now they are sitting and waiting to prevent CKDU. Nanomaterial definitely should be a good project, 50 million project. Okay, definitely should be a good project, but nobody had thought. It hadn't occurred to test the water quality. Okay, so you have to, as a researcher, see, okay, if we are producing something that what we are promising, if it is reducing hard ions, whether it is supposed to reduce hard and somebody has to do the water quality, So that part the researcher hasn't thought about it. And we got that stuck. We took over, the current council took over, and the Kalagidis are still there. The water quality reports are still pending. Hopefully, we will not have an audit query. Each and every file will be taken to audit if problems arises, and then we have to give them details, timelines, what happened, the PEC will go, I will go, all sorts of responsibilities are there. It's not just in the council taking decisions. We have to be responsible for decisions that we are taking. So this particular project is also sitting there still awaiting water quality reports. And then when we asked for the water quality reports, the investigator provided us a water quality from their own laboratory. So now, does it make sense? No? So we have MRI, we have other institutions where we accredited laboratories to test water. That is why you have to know your stakeholder. Okay, this project implementation arm will be definitely the Ministry of Health. So Ministry of Health has guidelines for human consumption. So think about it. And then if that two dots were connected, these problems wouldn't have been there. So think about your stakeholders before moving on to a project. I've been talking about return of investment. So some way you have to tell us what is that impact, the cost for what is the cost saving you would do, what is the cost benefit you would do, the revenue, or sometimes in applications this project is very cost effective, they declare. Okay, so show us how this is cost effective. So we will be looking into methodology. So if the methodology is not there, we will return. Show us in some way. We will not be asking for very hi-fi techniques. I know that a lot of us are not health economics. That's fine, but show us a pathway that you are trying to save the cost. So now I told you, if our research only stops at outputs, which is a journal publication, you have failed to achieve the last two steps. If we have not in ways, if it is not a fundamental research, but still, even for fundamental research, if you have not thought about the last two steps, as a researcher, we have failed. At least give us a policy document, like you can do a policy document for the policymakers. So this is what our recommendations are: outcomes and finally impact. Okay, so output, for all three grants, the evaluator panels will look into see what the outputs are. Outputs is, so these are all intended results. The last three are intended results. Outputs are your results actually. Output describe the results of a research study. Outcomes, outcome is the actual added value of the output for the target group. And implementation, the impact is what it changed in the community. So last two are a bit difficult. Not every researcher will be able to do that, but try to at least tell us or recommend how you plan to do that last mile. Implementation plan is important. So why do we need implementation research? The latest research shows that we really should do something with all the research that we have. This is a true story. We have a lot of research, we have a lot of researchers, but translating into that last mile, it's not happening in Sri Lanka for many reasons. It's not the researchers' fault. It's not just the researchers' fault. So I have talked a few words about dissemination, implementation strategy. So implementation in a nutshell is, you find something and you want that to be working in a community. But for some reason in that community, it's not working. For some reason, many reasons, cultural beliefs, say vaccine uptake. So there are other reasons that research finding is not working in a community. So you as a researcher, it's your task to study why it's not working in that community and go address that, your research has to be translated into that community using those research. Why it's not working there. So here, your research finding, your innovation is the thing. Okay, so implementation research is do the thing. And implementation strategies, how you're planning to get into the community is doing the thing. So that is that last bit. Okay. For health research, this is the research pipeline, just to get you thinking. Here, so now at NRC, during our tenure, what we have actually done is we have converted into e-copy submission. All three formats for IDG, PPP, TO grants have been revised, all three. And we have revised, based on requests from our research community, we have revised grant amounts, the amounts that we give, and the evaluation process. We have, the all processes have been streamlined, and legal agreements have been revised. And now the agreement is with the Vice Chancellor of the university or the relevant head of department. Say if it is the ministry, it would be the secretary. And then we are trying to introduce a new grant scheme because last year we had a the private consultation, and their requests are why we are not funding the private sector universities. Okay, so fair enough. So we have been thinking, deliberating, this is public funds. Why are we giving it to a private entity? And then the council members came up with, okay, tripartite agreement. And I think Professor Nayana is working on that. So we have a lot to do, to think about the legal schemes, how to award, what to award. But at the moment, the decision is we'll give 3 million from our side to, and then 60% come from them, 40% from us, 60% from the other two parties. So that is a way we are planning to bring in the private sector universities on board. And now we have timely award. We know that there are delays. NRC, we know that there are delays. The delay is during the evaluation process. So in that process that I showed to you, the up to due diligence into panels, it's in our hands. It's in our hands. So we have shortened that as much as possible. But now when we send out to reviewers, even I as a reviewer is a very bad reviewer. I take so much, I spend time and because we are all very busy. So we know how the review process. So therefore, the evaluation, the review process takes time. And then TO grants, PPP grants, we process very on a timely manner. IDG grants, because of that, the capacity and the amount we receive, we still have not been able to cut down that time that it takes. So it takes about 1 year. But once you lodge an application, after due diligence, we will let you know whether this is rejected or not within 3 months. That is a promise. So within 3 months, you will know whether this is rejected, but the rest of it would take time. And transiting from focusing on outputs into impact. So now we always focus on impactful research. Impactful research, it could be fundamental studies, no problem, but tell us what the impact is into the community. Facilitating the researchers to work with stakeholders, we always promote, we have discussions with as researchers, we have many discussions, and we know where the problems are. As much as possible, we try to solve them for you all. And we have had many workshops, so few webinars on procurement. We had a very recent one. So to facilitate process, and we will be having a clinical trial workshop and how to actually calculate this ROI, return of investment, impact pathways. We'll be having a workshop next month, so on and so forth. We, as much as possible, we are doing workshops as well. So we have revisited, but the common issues we know: delay in evaluation. We all know that. If there is something we can do about it, we will be doing about it. We will be working on it. It's a promise. And procurement delays are there, but that also because as a researcher, we don't know how to do, what to do. So procurement training has been done, and also within the institution, we have streamlined the processes, and even sometimes they require my signature. So I have put registries to see if it's my fault, it is my fault. I have to correct it. So I have put numbers in days to see where the delays has happened. So trying to get this right to help the research community as much as possible and document delays. Sometimes it is the researchers' fault. Sometimes the documents that we request are not given. Like now we are still waiting for names, accurate names to be put in agreement, accurate NIC numbers. So researchers also, when we ask for stuff, if they give us on time, it would facilitate the process. And we know about regulatory bottlenecks, especially for health sector research, and lack of an online platform. RMIS, we have been working, the council is all every day, each day, all meetings, we are asking, okay, we need a MIS, we need an online platform, we need money for that. We have developed the specs, but it is still happening. We all know when we want things, it doesn't get, well, things happen. So we are still waiting for our website to be developed, our online, hopefully this year, within the year, hopefully. So again, as I told you, this is public funds. We are all very responsible. If it is not, now our treasury member says, now these are released treasury bonds that comes into NRC. So we have to timely take it, timely utilize it, timely return it. Otherwise, these are treasury bonds that we pay interest to. This is where the country can go into bankruptcy. Even our small contribution helps. And the opportunity cost. Now, what the government gives to NRC could have been utilized at health sector. If we spent on health sector, maybe a maternity ward, maybe a pediatric ward. So it is that money that could have been spent elsewhere is given to us to be handled responsibly. So that's all what we ask from our research community. So the last bit is, I am a product. I have been, 20 years ago, not 22 years ago. So these are, I was made in Ragama. So this is my university, and I'm very grateful to be here. And thank you, Naina, for this opportunity. I hope I did justice. Okay, so my email address is there. Write to me anytime, and I will definitely answer any of the questions. I actually respond to my emails on a daily basis. Okay, that's all. I have finished on time. Thank you.
Let me deliver a short vote of thanks. Especially, I would like to thank, on behalf of the Research Management Committee of the Faculty of Medicine, Professor Anuji Gamage, for coming all the way to your own faculty to enlighten us, everybody, on strengthen so that we are in a better place to apply for NRC grants in future. So I hope it was very useful for everybody who attended as well as who joined from Zoom platform. And I also would like to thank the Research Management Committee for organizing this event. And we will hope to see you again in a different meeting in the next month. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.